We did a thing.
We did a very important, serious thing. Hey, what's up, family? I'm Rachel.
And I'm Joe.
And we are two Krazy Ketos.
And if you're new to our channel, welcome. Here on Two Krazy Ketos, we do different things like recipe videos and we do product reviews. We talk about various keto topics. And every Monday, we go live on Keto Beyond the Couch because life exists beyond the couch.
You can find us in different social media platforms like Facebook, Instagram, and X.
And we have a website, which is twocrazyketos.com, and that's where you're going to find all of our different recipes. Now we do upload at least 5 new videos every single week, so make sure you subscribe to our channel.
And don't forget to hit the little bell icon, and that way every single time we upload a new video, you'll be alerted to it.
So you know how we have the word crazy in our title?
We do.
It's named like Two Krazy Ketos.
Transparent.
Two Krazy Campers. The name of our business is Two Krazy Kids.
Yep.
Well, we're going to do something crazy. We have been talking about like our dream, which is to own a little bit of land, have like a little bit of a homestead farm where we could raise our own animals, but also have a place where like our dream is to be able to have people come and hang out, like a retreat center kind of. I guess retreat center is not a good word, but just a place where we can have maybe a small get together or like have an outbuilding kind of thing. Problem is, land's expensive in Florida.
Very expensive.
Like, we don't want to go further north in Orlando, so most of the land here, it's like, in the middle of nowhere is $50,000 an acre.
Right, exactly. We're talking, no electricity, nothing.
Like
50,000.
swamp land.
Right.
It's ridiculous. So, we're going to do something crazy. We're going to start to get serious about this. I don't know how we're going to be able to do this. I don't know how we're going to be able to finance
It's only going to be God.
But over the next couple of days, we're going to go look at properties. And we've got 2 different ways we're going to look at this. We're going to look at some property that have like modular type manufactured homes on them. Mm-hmm. And go look at that. And then we're going to go look at property where it's just property, but we'd have to build everything. And see which way we should go. I mean, the idea of the home there is nice.
Obviously, yes.
And then the idea of just blank property is nice too, but you have to remember that the having a blank property means clearing the land, having a septic installed, having a well installed, and by the time we're done, it could cost more money than buying property that already has something on it.
You know what's been the most interesting part of this? When we kind of laid out the state of Florida and we decided, what counties we would want to look in. Because there's like a lot of cities inside of a lot of counties inside of a big space, which is the state of Florida, right? It's the reason why it takes 8 hours to even get out of Florida into another state.
It's huge.
Crazy big. But as we started looking, the thought occurred to us because locally we're having issues finding places where it's fine to have a backyard flock even, like a small flock of chickens. So we thought, you know what? I'm sure it's fine everywhere except for here, but let's just look and see like what are the livestock, regulations.
Not good. Even
good.
There's a lot of areas where you can buy 5 acres, but they still tell you what you can and can't do. Anyway, so we're going to do a full day of eating vlog and take you along on some of this property search. Today, we're going back to Rachel's family's roots.
Yes, we are going to Arcadia, Florida, where they still allow you to apparently have goats and chickens and things.
So since we're going to be on the road for a couple days, it's going to be like an eating vlog. I don't know how much eating we're going to do because it depends on how tired we are. I am starting off with one of my True Endurance pre-workout drinks. I'm not working out, but it does give me some energy. It gives me a little bit of focus, and I'm going to need some focus to look at stuff.
I've been working out. I've been consistently working out. Are you super
You're following
proud?
Savage's program. I'm just starting it.
I am following the Savage system, and it's kicking my butt. I do have a bit of spaghetti arms and legs, but it's starting to get better. I want to say it's kind of like when you start triple B&E and you're like, I am so mad and angry right now because it's new. After a week, like the first week of being serious about it, 5 days out of 7, I work out. It's getting easier to keep doing it.
So I'm going to bring on the road a keto brick, so that if I get hungry on the road, I'm not eating a whole bunch of gas station food. We may stop for hot dogs and stuff, but I'm going to bring a keto brick. This is blueberry. And then I wanted you to try this. I got this the other day.
Awesome.
So this is boar's head.
It's the fancy stuff.
Well, it's pre-cut. Usually I get all my lunch meat at BJ's because it's really cheap. This is jerk turkey breast.
Jerk turkey breast.
Yeah.
I usually love things like jerk wings.
In fact, I'm kind of upset that I'm almost out. You're going to need some water.
Wow. That is spicy, but in the best way.
That kick.
Wow.
It's got a good kick.
That's really good. I have not yet made my coffee. Can you believe that? I can't believe I actually showered and did my hair and all those things. No coffee yet. So I'm going to be putting a scoop of my keto brains into a travel mug where we can just like stop at a gas station, get us some coffee. And then I'm going to be bringing along the honey barbecue carnivore bar with me because yes, road travel.
This will also be the first test of like, what's it like to drive in a Tesla on long trips. We should probably mention why we're crazy for this. And that is because we're going to do this like 3 days in a row. And each one of these drives is 2.5 to 3 hours in one direction.
It is. And I will say, as somebody who has some like water retention issues, this can be a little bit rough. Definitely upping my electrolyte intake as we take these journeys to just make sure that like water flushes out and doesn't stick around.
I'm in love already.
This is a beautiful area.
Do we have to go look at land tomorrow? Can we just
right
here? Before we even look at this house, we have made the decision that we will go look at land if for no other reason to rule out getting
confirmation.
Land, right? But so far, where we are right now checks every box.
It does.
Like small town living, but lots of stuff to do. We're out of the way, but lots of land.
I like the tree coverage. I think we're rolling up on the property we're here to look at. Oh, we are not going to notice the fact that there is like a little playground with a swing that they have set up here, possibly for Peyton.
What are your thoughts?
My thought is I absolutely love this piece of land. The house is going to have to be completely gutted. Like totally gutted. But you know what? We came into this wanting land and thought it would be super nice if we could get like water, sewer, electric. And we have that. Like we have this already done. And you have what could be the bones of a house once you strip it, take it back down to nothing. But I mean, this is perfect for livestock. In fact, I was just talking to the owner saying that if we could have like there's a different number you have to have, but you could get your green belt, which is basically a reduction in your taxes because this is a working farm. And he's like 5 cows would do it. He didn't know how many goats, but that was something to look into. But yeah, this is such a beautiful property. There's a pond, Joe, that's fully stocked with bass and he said the tilapia they get in there, but catfish and stuff. I think this would be a really fun place for kids, for people to come and visit. Like I think this is a beautiful space. What do you think? You're the one that's got to do a lot of the work as far as gutting a house.
So we didn't really walk around with the camera because the owner has been walking around with us, the real estate agent's been walking around with us. But overall, we'll put some pictures, some Google Earth pictures up. The piece of property is amazing. I mean, we're standing on the back half of it. You can see the house out there, but the land goes way over this way. And then it goes way over that way, probably twice as far as from where we are to this other fence. It's huge. It's 6 acres. We've got to look at, there's another property we're going to look at. The other property has a brand new modular home built in 2022. As a matter of fact, it's so new that Google Earth doesn't even have it. In fact, Google Earth still has that piece of land with orange groves on it. The orange groves have since been stripped. The properties have been divided into, I think it's 5 acres with a brand new modular home on it. However, it's just a flat open, not a tree on the property. There's no trees. You'll have a well, you'll have a septic system, but there's no trees, there's no pond, there's no fence, there's none of that. So we really have to look at what is more important. So the modular home here, it's not old. It's 20 years old. The roof is 7 years old. It's got, I think you said it's a 1,250 gallon septic tank, which is absolutely massive. It's got a 400 and something foot deep wells. There's natural springs, like actual fed springs here on the property, which means we always have water. So it really comes down to, you're going to pay for the land here or the house over there. So long as the bones of this house are good, and we would obviously hire an inspector, all of the sheetrock's got to come down. The owners were smokers. There was a couple of holes in it. A lot of the doors are off. They've been here for 24 years, and it's an older gentleman. So he's like, I just don't have the energy to do stuff anymore. But it's not something that I can't do. Like, yanking all the sheetrock off and starting blank could actually be good, because then we can do it the way we want it, put in the kitchen that we want. So if you took off of the price of the house, what would it cost to put a septic, put a well, put in fencing and all of that stuff? You're paying about $45,000 an acre, which is still less than a lot of the acreage in this area. So it really comes down to what's more important to us. Is it more important to have a piece of land that we love and have to work on the home, or is it more important to have a home that we love, but the land is going to take 20 years to look like this? Which one do you want?
Right now in this moment, my thought is, this is a place of character. And I do, like, for me, character is where it's at. Like, there's some beautiful trees here, natural grapes growing through here. Shade trees for our livestock already in place and mature
and fenced in, and there's multiple fences. So the area we're standing right now is its own fenced in area, so you can immediately throw goats in here. They're going to handle mowing the lawn.
This looks a lot,
and they're separated from the house.
This is more like old Florida. And that's very precious to me.
Right.
Like, I'm getting emotional just thinking about it, because this is the backyard. I'm thinking to myself, what would Pa choose? What would my grandfather choose? And he'd be like, Rachel,
yeah,
this is the land.
I mean, we're gonna go look at the other one, but if I'm picking based on just total price, knowing that $350 for one with not great land but a nice house, and the house can be replaced. If you really wanted to, you could just completely tear down and put a brand new modular home in, because you already have the foundation and everything.
There's a part of me that just wants to ask if it would be inappropriate for me to grab a fishing pole and just see if I could cast just a few times in the pond.
And the good thing is like I can do all of the work.
Right.
I can do all of the work. I can re-sheetrock houses. I've done it. I've gutted houses. It reminds me of my mom's house, the A-frame. When we bought that house when I was a little kid, it looked like that.
And we're well.
Yes,
we're well. Because you're coming back from a memory of like, okay, yeah, 30 years ago I could do this, but right now we could do this.
So after leaving that one property, we went over and looked at 2 others, which we didn't even bother filming. The first one was gorgeous house. It's a brand new home on 6 acres, but like we said, it's an old orange grove, and you could see the house from miles away. That is not what we're looking for. We're looking for property that has character, not something out in the middle of the open with no fence and not one tree.
Like you see here.
The next one we looked at is a log cabin on
Fright night.
So let's talk about the property first. The property was halfway between the orange grove and then the first property that we showed you, where they had a few trees, but it was off of a major road, so it was kind of noisy and still didn't have character, no pond. But the house was a log cabin that probably needs $150,000 worth of work. Like, every window is broken, no air conditioning.
A feral cat community has been
so
welcomed
that was a
into
no. So I really, really like the first one, the one that we came over here to look at.
It's going to be a lot of work.
the house does need work. It basically needs to be gutted.
Gutted.
We have to gut everything down to the studs, but I can do that. And I want to buy it right now. But we said, before we ever got out and looked at it, we said that we will go look at bear property in other cities first, if for no other reason to make sure we're where we're supposed to be.
I don't want to fall in love with a place and get the wrong place, right?
That's right.
I really want us to find the right place, a place that's got, like, it needs to check all the boxes. Like, I'm not settling.
And that property does.
Yeah.
The property does. Maybe the house needs work, but the property itself checks every box. The other thing that really draws me to here is because of where we're standing right now.
So we are in Joshua Creek Cemetery, where my grandfather's grandfather is even born. So
Rachel's got a lot of family from here.
there's a lot of family history in this area. So we're just taking time to visit our family here on both my grandfather's side and my maternal grandmother's side. But yeah, there's a lot of history here. You're talking about, like, from the 1800s, they were living in this area, this part of Arcadia. So definitely have deep roots in the city.
So the thought of moving back to where your grandparents moved from, right?
Right.
It's kind of like, so when my mom and dad got married, they were in Miami. My dad was born and raised in Miami. My mom was born in Wisconsin, moved to Miami very young. So they grew up in Miami. When they got married, they moved to New York. And that was their honeymoon, actually was staying at south of the border. They camped at south of the border. So they got married in Florida, moved to New York. I got married in New York and moved to Florida. So the thought of your grandparents were raised here in Arcadia, moved to Fort Lauderdale, and now we're thinking about possibly moving
Back.
the family back from Fort Lauderdale back to Arcadia. I mean, it's just like a big giant circle.
Well, and I wonder what, not just my grandparents, but my great-grandparents and my great-great-grandparents, who are right here. We are within, 10 feet of my great-great-grandparents, and where they raised cattle, picked oranges, like this.
Everything we want to do.
Everything we want to do.
We're home.
I ain't gonna lie, I'm tired.
I did all the driving.
I know, but I had to stay awake to make sure you were okay.
Well, actually, the Tesla did all the driving.
I have hat head. Look at that. That's like a severe line.
Before we even talk about it, first let's show our food.
Yeah.
So we're home. We haven't eaten. I didn't even eat my keto brick.
I didn't even get to eat my carnivore bar.
We were going to stop and get a hot dog, and we decided we're going to go home. We tried calling John Paul and Michelle to see if they wanted to meet to eat, and I think they were out doing something.
Yeah, I think
so
they were.
We just ran home, and I'm having 6 eggs, and then I have some of our meat crackers.
I did mine a little different. So
I'm not doing cheese. I'm doing sour cream, but I'm not doing cheese.
You're not doing cheese, and I'm sorry to eat cheese in front of you, but I put some pickles on top of my meat thins, and then I just melted a folio cheese wrap on top of it. So I know it's
ate
weird.
all my ketchup.
I am so sorry.
So
but
I like ketchup on my eggs. I'm using this True Made ketchup. We get it at Walmart. It's super cheap there.
the other thing I have is freeze-dried sweet peppers.
You like those?
I really like them because they have like a crunch to them, and they get very sweet.
They're super sweet.
They're really delicious.
So yeah, so this is what we're gonna eat: just eggs and meat thins. Recipe for the meat thins is up here. Basically, it's steakums that you put in the dehydrator, or you can put them in your oven. And this week, Publix had them on sale, buy one get one free, because our BJ's isn't carrying the meat thins right now. The brand, which was like Philly Gourmet, although they're carrying them in Publix.
I noticed that.
But they're carrying, it's a smaller box. It's only 16 instead of 24. So Publix is carrying the 16 packs, and they're normally $11. But right now they're buy one, get one free. So you pay $11 and you're getting 32 of them, which makes it cheaper than BJ's. So I loaded up. We're probably going to get more before they go off a sale. You were talking about freeze dryer. This is our new experiment because we've been doing a lot of lion's mane. It is in Keto Brains. So we got some lion's mane and I freeze dried it, and we're gonna turn this into a powder. We'll probably do it in another video. We're gonna turn it into a powder and we're gonna make capsules. I want to get more lion's mane, but it's super expensive.
It is very
So we're attempting to grow our own. So far, nothing's coming out. This is supposed to be super easy, like literally slit a hole and keep it humid.
I feel like we can make things complicated.
I don't know if it's just how long it's supposed to take. I thought it would have started popping by now, or it could be that the air conditioner keeps sucking the humidity out of it.
Could be.
So if it doesn't work, I may look into getting one of the mushroom grow boxes because it's not super expensive. And it's basically a box that controls the oxygen, controls the humidity. And then you just put one of these things in the bottom and it does all, instead of having it every day, we have to spray water in this bag, but we'll let you know about that. So before we get into the house that we saw, I did want to mention a bunch of people asked, like, where did the Tesla come from? It's not that we want RV Unplugged. That's been the big guess.
It's not that
but
we didn't.
It has nothing to do with RV Unplugged. We can thank Chris Miller, who, like, it's something that I've thought about for a while, is switching Rachel out to a electric car, but I was always debating back and forth with brands, and Chris is like bad for me. It's a Chris thing, because Chris Bear, Chris Miller.
Both brilliant,
and they put things in my head. But honestly, what it really was it's not that we have a ton of money. It's that they gave me pretty much what we paid for Rachel's old car.
They just bought it back from us.
3 years later, we got $2,000 less than we paid for the car.
That was crazy.
And then it did need some new work. It was getting up on new tires and things like that. Not that we would ever usually get rid of a car for that. But the combination of them giving me what I paid for the car and the $7,500 tax rebate from the government for buying an electric car, it made it almost a wash, like just a couple of grand. Then you factor in with the Tesla, no service.
No
like
gas.
The only thing you have to do is like change out tires, but there's no oil changes, transmission fluid changes, any of that stuff. So it made sense. Now we've driven it a ton. I think it's a great car. I would not have it as my only car if you're doing long distance driving. I mean, we're kind of testing the limits today, and we're going to test the limits again with it tomorrow, like going up to frostproof and stuff.
Right.
But you have to really think ahead. Like, where is there a charging station?
Because it's not like a gas station; it's a charging.
You got to think about the charging station, and it does charge quickly, like 15 minutes. When we drove around all day up there, and we got up there, we charged for like 10 minutes, brought us up to about 80%. Then we drove all day,
right?
Got back down to 60, and then hit the charger for like another 15 minutes. And
how much did that
came
cost
home.
us?
It was like $10 for the whole day. Plus whatever it costs to charge at home, which is like a quarter of what you pay at the charging station.
$10 in gas.
We
for
did
all
about
the driving.
we did like 400 miles today
for $10.
For $10. So I figure by the time you do everything at home for charging it back up with our home, it'll be like $13 or $14, which is still not bad at all.
No.
But that's really what it came to be. And the reason we went with Tesla is the charging network. But for the most part, it's a local car. You only drive local, and you're perfect for that.
Except for right now.
But we are keeping like our truck, obviously for RVing, and then as well as my Hyundai for like long distance drives and things like that, because that's a gas car. So, but that's why we have it. So, final thoughts. Tomorrow we're going to go back out. We're planning on doing two days. I don't think we'll vlog all the days, but we'll see how it goes. We'll make it one big vlog, but we're going to be going to Okeechobee.
Right.
To more than likely rule out Okeechobee.
Yeah, because I am aware that Okeechobee has a lot of land. However, a lot of it is wetlands too.
And it's far from everything, and a lot of dirt roads.
I'm not interested in saying, hey, I've got this many acres, but really only a quarter of an acre I can actually put a house on. So I'm not interested in just saying that I have space. I want everything to be buildable as much as possible. Mm-hmm. Then, frostproof is definitely looking good. If for no other reason,
we fell in love with frostproof 4 years ago.
They're not so like weird about animals. I don't know why more and more places are not pushing for sustainability, self-sustainability, but a lot of places, no chickens allowed, and we got to bring the chickie babies.
And those are probably pretty much our limits, because for us, like we said, we don't want to be too far away from the kids. Like if we were to go to where we were today, which is Arcadia, Rachel's roots, we're pretty much 2 hours from everything. We're 2 hours from here, hour and a half from the boys, close to airports, 2 hours from Disney. Frostproof, you got a decent distance to an airport. We do travel.
3 hours from here.
3 hours from here. It's still about 2 hours from Disney because you got to take side roads to get to Disney. So it really is going to come down to land. Like, what is the land like there compared to today? We're going to look at it that we're buying the land. You're paying for the land. And the fact that the house is there means that you get sewer or a septic, you have a well, you have electric. Whereas if we buy just raw land,
We have to put all that in.
$15,000 for a septic system, $10,000 to $20,000 for a well, $5,000 to run the electric onto the property, not to mention everything else, clearing the land.
Even when
we do want to go first before we make any decisions.
Even when you're like, I'm trying to go the cheapest routes, there's always going to be like more expenses than you planned. And we kind of planned that there's more expenses than we planned. Like when we looked at the house today, and
I'm figuring $15,000 in renovations if I do it myself, but we're gonna budget like it would cost us $30,000.
Exactly. You have to. I think that's how you don't get upset and sad and feel like you have buyer's remorse if you go in there with a budget, like knowing we've done home projects before. Leave a comment down below about like, when did you have like a home renovation expense of some sort that just was more than you had planned?
Right.
And how did you handle that situation?
And the good thing for us, I mean, the biggest thing we have to think about is cell phone service, which was plentiful in Arcadia. Not so sure about Okeechobee and Frostproof. I don't think there's much in Okeechobee.
Access to stores.
And then internet.
Yeah.
Because
well, I mean, but shopping too. You
Yeah.
still want a grocery
Oh,
store.
absolutely. But I'm thinking about like for us, because we're YouTubers, we need good internet. I mean, thanks to Elon Musk and Starlink, even if they don't have really great stuff there, we do have Starlink. And Starlink is working very well for us here in Florida. We use it as a backup, but we've had to use it a lot lately because the internet in our neighborhood's under construction. And we did a live stream through a torrential downpour.
Any cons today? Any cons that you see about the Arcadia area?
Cons to Arcadia itself? No. I'm
Hurricanes. They've gotten hit a couple
They've
times.
gotten hit a couple of times.
But that house is still there.
Well, that's the thing. It's like, in a perfect world, I want to be more in the middle of the state, because if you don't know the way hurricanes hit, when they hit land, as soon as they hit, they die down. Mm-hmm. So the further you get into the middle of the state, even if it hits with a category 5 on the coast, by the time it gets to the middle of the state, it's a category 1, maybe 2, usually a tropical storm. And especially, a lot of times they're going to come from the east if you were going to like the Frostproof area. Arcadia is halfway between the middle of the state and the West Coast. And the West Coast, the last few years, has gotten slammed. Arcadia has gotten hit a couple of times with lots of trees down. But like you just said, that mobile home, it's a manufactured home.
Still there.
It's been there since 1999, and it hasn't moved. And it's been through
Charlie,
3
Irma.
Major category 3 or higher storms. Mm-hmm. And it's still there.
Gotta give it props.
So that's something to think. So yeah, if there is a con, it's a little bit closer to the coast than I was planning on, especially to the West Coast, which seems to be getting hammered a lot more than the East Coast, for the last 15 or 20 years. But as far as everything else, we have a checklist. It hits 10 minutes from stores, good cell service.
More than 50% buildable land.
100% of the land you're on, other than the fact that there's a pond, is buildable.
But I would
and you
build
want
a
the pond. And we would have dug a pond anyway because we want livestock. So you need something for animals. It's built on top of 3 natural springs. Yes. It's got a septic system already. It's got a family history.
Right.
So
it's
distance to the children.
Yep.
So the only con would be the fact that it is more susceptible to a hurricane than, say, going to Frostproof. But if that's the only con and the other ones have more cons, we're going to have to see. Yeah. So we're going to continue this vlog when we go back up, and then we'll wrap it all up and let you know what we decide. If you are a praying person,
please pray.
Keep us in prayer as we make this huge life-changing decision.
Because it's not just about the house, it's not just about the land that you're on, but it's like where you're at and like what happens where you're at. You know, we want to be a blessing to whatever community that we settle in, right? We want to be like a good contributing member of that community.
Right.
So what community needs us, Joe?
And
that's something I care about.
The best part about all of this is going from Fort Lauderdale to going wherever we go, even though you're going to add on 3 to 5, 6 acres of land, it'll pretty much be a wash. Like, it won't cost us anything.
It's very expensive
because we're
here.
going from very expensive here to up there, but the cost of living up there is about a quarter of what the cost of living is down here. So in the end, we make out, but it does mean leaving 10 minutes from the beach. You know, I won't be diving 3 times a week anymore, but we'll be able to have a farm and be more self-sustainable.
Okay, so we are up here in Frostproof, Florida, and we are learning that all roads are not created equally.
Yeah, I'm not even, this piece of property is that we were going to look at. Oh, I guess we might be able to make it. I was going to say is an old orange grove.
Right.
And it's priced pretty inexpensively, but some of the roads up here are not paved. And so, fortunately, we have an all-wheel drive car. We're not in the truck, but that's one of the reasons we did this, because we had so much rain. You want to see.
Wow.
But no, I'm going to tell you now, like, we're going to finish because we're halfway there, but
We're living on a prayer?
Yeah, pretty much. But yesterday, we went up to Okeechobee.
That was an experience.
Okeechobee is huge.
It's like the villages.
It's got some areas that are very nice with paved roads, and then there's other areas of Okeechobee which are all dirt roads. It's basically almost like swampland. A lot of people used to go four-wheeling and stuff in it, because what happened was when Disney started building Disney, people kind of got wind of it.
Right.
And so they started buying up tracts of land. The problem is a lot of the land never got incorporated, so it wasn't buildable.
You can't do nothing with it.
And it's like most of Florida is a swamp.
Right.
You know?
So it's popular for bringing your toys out and going mudding.
Right.
Can you imagine trying to drive poor Allie across this and what that would do to her little underbelly?
This piece of property. But, I mean, no, just because of the road alone, because it's all dirt road, and I don't want to have to drive on the dirt road. I mean, it's a nice big clear piece of property. You're not looking at a bunch of junk. Well, I guess there's junk back there. But I would like a little bit more trees, because then we're going to have livestock. But you can look at the ground. This is Florida. It's all sand.
My butt is sweating something powerful. Hello.
What are your thoughts on that piece?
I'm thinking that we need to edit that video just a little bit. That is not for me.
Even if the roads were paved, I don't think that piece is for me.
No, that piece is not for me. I feel like if we did buy back here, you would completely trick out a Power Wheels truck for Peyton so that she could go mudding back here on a toddler level. Could this be the future of the two Krazy Ketos farm? We do not know as yet, but we're hopeful. We're taking a look at this property with the realtor's permission. It is over 3 acres of land and currently has quite a lot of crap on it. Like just a lot of things that are gonna have to be cleared out, but we definitely see potential. We see potential. This is over 3 acres heading towards 4, right, Joe?
3.8 acres.
So this is a decent amount of land. As you can see, it's being used as mostly a storage lot. There's a lot of cars here, a lot of just junk left over that nobody wants to put away, which is why I think that it's a steal of a deal price-wise. Of course, we have to budget for getting rid of stuff in case they don't, as far as giving them an offer. But I really do like how everything is kind of cordoned off. So we have this really nice little pond built already. And then where the cars are, that's where we would build our house. And then you've got this area, and then all of that area back there for having some livestock. And I think it's got a lot of potential. What do you think, Joe?
You want the
Interesting.
optimistic side or the pessimistic side?
I want pessimistic. Tell me the worst first. I'm that person.
The worst is they don't negotiate at all on the price, and we're responsible to get rid of all the stuff.
Not looking forward to that if that is the option.
So I look at it this way. So I assume they're going to take all those cars.
Right.
But it's the stuff back here, the broken down tractor trailer, this white Plymouth or whatever that's over there.
That eyesore over there.
The rest of this, those are the biggest two things that to me you would have to have them get rid of.
There's a cart of tires.
Yeah, there's a cart of tires, but that would be easy to get rid of because honestly, if you look over here, so you can have a company come get the tires. The trailer itself, everything is broken, but the metal on that trailer could be cut down and used for stuff. So like, listen, metal's expensive, but it's the big things that would not be easy to get rid of. Like, something like that would be easy to get rid of. You hire a company to come in. So I got to figure it could cost you $20,000, $30,000 to get rid of all of this stuff. But then again, they're selling this piece of property, which I think they are selling it so cheap because of all this, because they're selling this piece of property for $60,000, and pretty much everything else in the area is about $30,000 to $40,000
an acre
per acre.
Right.
And this is 3.8 acres. It's set back. It's already cleared. And it's on a paved road. A lot of the stuff that's $20,000 to $40,000 an acre here is on a dirt road.
Right.
And Florida and dirt roads during the summer,
great.
They don't exactly mix. So
now
that's the worst thing.
There's definitely like access to electricity, and they said
there's electric here.
That's
plus
all
we're going to
they
build
have.
a solar farm.
Right, we will build a solar farm. They don't say that there's water. The realtor said that's all there is.
So we have to have a well dug.
We need sewer.
And we need to dig a septic tank. But again, I'm not really worried about that. For me, it's getting rid of the stuff because everything else that we've looked at is land that has to be cleared.
Right.
And so this would be, so instead of clearing the land, we had to get rid of the junk. I think getting rid of the junk is actually cheaper and easier than clearing the land.
It's a different form of clearing the land.
And also, even the stuff that's back here, like if you turn around, like all of this junk here, even if that stuff, let's say they don't take anything, if we can get rid of that stuff, we can worry about that later.
Right.
Because it's such a big piece of property.
We could have a house.
You want it to look pretty from day one, but it's not going to. So you start over there, and then over the years, you work on that crap. And in the meantime, you put some goats back there because it's already fenced. The whole piece of property is fenced in.
That's really nice.
And then let the goats have shades and things like that, and do something. I don't know. But that's worst case scenario is full price and they don't get rid of anything.
Definitely one of the things that we put on our list, because I do believe in having like a vision board so that you know what you are looking for. One of the things that I did want was a pond of some sort. So I like that there's a pond here. And also we wanted at least 50% of the land cleared. Clearly that is the case here, but we also wanted to make sure there were still some shade trees for our livestock, which also
there
is here.
And we wanted a lot of it cleared. And the thing is that a lot of the property we've looked at, we were looking at 5 to 10 acres, and everything in our price range, like out of the 5 to 10 acres, maybe an acre of it was buildable and the rest was wetlands. So we started looking at, we'd rather just get like 1 or 2 acres, but it's all buildable. You can't have as big of a farm, but it's still better than we have now, which is not even a quarter of an acre.
Right.
And privacy. This has privacy. We're surrounded all the way around. There's only one other issue.
The big issue is, who does that belong to? We're not sure. There's definitely like a demolished house on the other side of this.
That's right there.
There's semis
right there.
here. I do see on the other side of this little shanty that there's a nice house that's well manicured and taken care of. So I'm like, is this semi my semi? Like, I'm not sure who belongs to what. Definitely going to need to have the realtor clear that up, because now you're talking about a whole nother layer if that demolished house is on our property and we would have to remove it fully.
I can tell you for sure that demolished house is not on this piece of property, because
Okay.
I've got the plot track. That house is not on the property. The question is those 2 tractor trailers. Does that belong to the owners of this and they put it there, or does it belong to whoever owns the property next door? And if that's the case, it means we have to look at it. I do have an easy solution, and that would be
Hedges.
a giant line of hedges that I never ever cut. Just put a whole bunch of ficus down the side or cocoa plum and let it go. Never trim it, and
It'll
it's just
fill
a
in.
natural barrier.
I do have another like workaround. If livestock does not work out, we also could just become
Used car salesman.
used car salesman. I do think that I could work on that personality. I really do. Can I get you in a car today? Have we talked about your extended financing package? Send me your text messaging. I would love to text message you and email you on the regular.
Let us know down in the comment section, what would you do looking at this piece of property? Now, when you're making that comment, take this into account. We looked in Okeechobee yesterday. It was dirt roads, no cell service, and an hour and 20 minutes from the nearest Walmart or Publix.
Right. What do I need to do to get you into a new car today? Call me anytime. This is where functional fitness comes in, because there's a locked gate here. And we did get the realtor's permission to go on the property, but we did have to jump the fence. So how do you feel now that you are able to get onto property via the top of a fence now, sir?
Oh, me?
Yeah.
I'm used to jumping fences, but it is definitely kind of interesting. This is one of the things I do like, by the way. So this road that we're walking down, this is part of the property. So it's kind of weird. It's this narrow drive that leads out to the street there. This is the only part of the property that is ours. This piece over here to this side would not be, I say ours, it's not ours, but the property for sale. That's not part of it. And then this over here is not part of it. So it's this long track, and then the big piece, which I like because you're then set way back off of the road. I kind of like that whole idea of being set back off of the road. We just need to find out what the deal with the junk is. Now, talk about jumping a fence. Thank you, Robert, for getting Rachel to do a bunch of fitness.
Right?
Does this count for your 30 minutes of fitness every day with Robert?
I do not think so, but because I'm doing the fitness and strength training every day, I can do these things, which is very fun. I like getting into property and taking a look for myself.
So we found another piece of property, and ideally, here's the thing. It's kind of interesting. That piece that we just showed you,
Right.
with that is like great if it wasn't for all the junk. It's 4 parcels that way.
Right.
Well, we just found this one. Look behind us. So this piece of property is, I think, like 0.8 acres less. It's $10,000 more, but there's no junk on it.
No junk on it.
It's already cleared. It has a nice corner over here for trees for livestock. It's completely clear. It's not all sandy. Like it's ready to drop something on it.
There's no ponds.
We can dig a pond.
Right.
Can I buy a backhoe?
Yes.
Okay. I can buy a backhoe, and probably the backhoe to dig my own pond would cost less than clearing that other piece of property.
Probably.
There is electric right there,
I love it.
and there's a well already dug on this piece of property.
Let's go take a look.
So like 10 grand. Now, we called the realtor. It's kind of interesting. Realtor.com doesn't give the realtors numbers or anything. And so you kind of have to you have to be a detective. So, find it. Some of them, because there's no street addresses, you have to use like Google Earth and zoom in and look around to find the piece that you're looking for. But we were able to use the parcel number to find the realtor. And so we called him, and he gave us permission to go on the property. But guess what? We got to jump a fence again.
Another fence. It's interesting to think about what is 3 acres. What is an acre? What does it look like? Ooh, there's definitely some cows back here. What is an acre, Joe? What does that look like?
Well, this is 3 acres, and it's all usable. That's not cow dung, that's horse dung.
Those are giant.
So they had horses here.
Watch out.
That's okay. Get used to it. We're gonna have a farm.
I know, but I won't put it right there.
I'm gonna tell you, I like this piece better.
Really? Because of...
I don't have to
how
get rid of the
it's
junk. I'm not looking at tractor trailers, which I'm positive do not belong to that property owner. And good luck getting rid of that. I like the fact that it's nice and open. And the other one, yes, it had some stuff on it like the pond, but we can dig a pond.
Yes, we can.
That's not expensive. You can rent a bobcat and dig a pond and not even have to own it, but you're going to want to have it anyway. But here you can put your fence where you want. You can put the pond where you want. That pond is flat dab in the middle of the property. Like when you want to get to the back, you're going to have to be careful to not drive into the pond. Like
Right.
I would take this and maybe
Put it in
dig
the
the
back.
pond in the back
Yeah.
corner where you still have a pond, but it's not in the middle of your property,
Exactly.
taking up a third of it that you have to drive around. And I do like these shade trees right here. Like
Me
you have a little
too.
corner of shade trees.
I love that.
Again, not looking at a tractor trailer. I do hear roosters, but again, we want a farm, so we're gonna have roosters too.
We're fine with it.
And I feel like it's very flat. It's not all sandy. That other one's gonna need a lot of gravel put in. This one is a little bit more money for a little bit less acreage, but a lot less money to get things going. So Rachel was right. Yes,
the
you can
culprit.
mark it. It's not cow dung.
Timestamp
It
that.
is cows. So evidently these cows, there's one over there.
There's a couple back there.
There's a
too.
couple over here, and it looks like they're using this as grazing. The question is
Is
this part of the property?
Is that part of it? Because again, I don't know what an acre looks like.
That's more than 3 acres. Like that and this piece that we're standing on is more than 3 acres. So I have a feeling that this is not part of it. If this were to be part of it though, okay, yeah, there's a tractor trailer on it, but all of that could actually be used as storage stuff. Like see that piece right there, that shipping container? You could leave that if that was part of the property, because we could utilize that.
You can leave the cow, I'll eat it.
Well, welcome to day 3 of what was supposed to be like 2 days of what we're doing.
Right.
We did a thing.
We did a very important, serious thing.
So after looking at that property in Arcadia, and then going up and looking at property in Okeechobee, which we did not film, but
Trust me, there was nothing much to show.
here's what it was. We could put an overlay of some Google Earth stuff, but it was the Wild West.
And swamplands.
So, I mean, the properties themselves weren't bad. At least some of them. You couldn't find any of them easily because there's no street addresses. Here's what it is with pictures. So you would have to use Google Earth and find stuff that was around it to find it.
I think it's interesting because in your mind, you're thinking, I want to live off the grid. I want to live out in the wild blue yonder. And then you're like, but I also want to find a grocery store that's less than 45 minutes away and also have internet.
Well, the biggest problem is that all the roads are dirt roads.
Right.
I mean, after we got where we were going in Okeechobee, we put 100 miles on the car just driving up and down these dirt roads.
Right.
And I will say the Tesla handled it well.
Woohoo!
But it's not really what I'm looking for. If I just wanted to completely homestead and never see a person ever again in the rest of my life, like live off the land and never go to a grocery store, it would work.
Right.
But there's no Amazon delivery there, that's for sure.
Hello.
So then we went to Frostproof. We showed you that Frostproof stuff and we came
Beautiful.
home. And the more we thought about it, we were like, Arcadia is the place. That's where we want to be. So we put an offer in on that house. And I will say we lowballed them a little bit.
Because it needs so much work though, Joe.
Yeah, we didn't show you the inside. I didn't want to film the inside of, you'll see it. But the entire inside needs to be gutted to the
Totally.
studs.
Nothing is going to be, not one room is going to be able to be saved.
Yeah. And so I can do that. I've done that. And I'm up for the challenge of doing it, but it will be a lot of work. I hope you can do it.
I think it's hilarious because I can promise you there is no connection between me finally getting plugged into a consistent strength training practice where like every single day I'm making it a focus. I had no idea 2 weeks ago when I started focusing on that I was going to need them muscles because we's about to get into some major home renovation, and it's pretty much just me and you.
Yeah, it is just us. So we've done some negotiating back and forth, and we had to look at that land like this. What if when I pull it down to the studs, the whole manufactured home's gotta go?
Yeah.
And we have to buy a new one.
Right.
You know, that financially won't be feasible at the beginning because we will have to like sell this house off and stuff first. But I don't think we're going to have that because it's been through storms. It's got a new roof. And, you know, with the last hurricane, the insurance companies would have totaled it if they had problems with it.
Right.
So I think it's just a matter of fact that you had smokers in there and they were older and it just got to the point where they couldn't take care of it. And you could technically fix it up, but it's going to be easier to just pull all the sheetrock up, pull all the floor, start fresh because you have the bones. It's just going to be a lot of work. So we ended up settling on a price, which funny enough is what we paid for our house more than 8 years ago.
The one that we're living in here currently.
The biggest reason we chose this property is number one, the property is amazing.
It's beautiful.
Exactly what we want, but it does have the well, the septic system, the electricity, all of that stuff is on site and it's already graded. It's got a road. Whereas if we were to buy just a plain piece of property and maybe spend $50,000 less, that $50,000 is going to have to go into putting a well, putting a septic system, and all of that stuff. But you did eat today.
I did eat today. So what I ate, and I know this sounds really weird.
I have not yet eaten.
But I had to have some lab work done. I'm getting very excited about the State of the Rachel union address for this coming year, but just trying to make sure we stay on top of lab work. So I got some labs this morning, and so I was fasted more than 12 hours by the time they were taking the labs. Then I came home, and since I was already fasted, I was like, let me just get my workout in. So I do about 20 minutes of yoga, and then I get into the strength training. I'm doing the yoga because I know that as somebody that's new to exercising, I have to stretch. Right. I need to stretch out because I have a hard problem with range of motion with that. So I got my workout in. Then I take a tablespoon of butter and I put an entire drained can of chicken into that. And then I pour over that 4 of the ladies' eggs from outside and make an omelet out of that. So that's, butter, chicken, and eggs all together. Then on the side, I had an ounce or a serving of kimchi because I really enjoy it. And I'm also working on my gut health. So I like the spicy. So I got spicy kimchi, an ounce of that, and then an entire container of the 5% milk fat Fahe yogurt because we haven't had time and energy to make some of Joe's yogurt. So I'm just doing the cheat sheet and using that yogurt.
Yeah, so I really haven't eaten a whole lot in the last couple days. I'm kind of weird. So whenever I get hyper focused on something like this and also nerves and all that,
right.
I tend to lose my appetite. It's like the Tesla was the easiest thing in the world to buy. If you've never bought a Tesla, it's every car needs to be sold the Tesla route, which is you order it on the phone. There is no negotiating prices. You literally go down. There's only like 5 options. You choose your options. You set up everything. The app does financing if you're doing financing. The app even makes an offer on your existing car. You upload a couple pictures of your car,
Crazy.
of your odometer, and within 15 minutes you've got everything all done, and then you pick a day to go pick it up. And then the day you go pick it up, it literally is, okay, here's where your car is. Go walk around, inspect it. Do you accept this car? Yes. You take your phone, you get in the car, and you drive away.
That's wild.
Like, you never really have to see anybody. There's no going into the glass confessional booth.
So that was a fantastic, easy, stress-free experience.
But other cars, I don't eat for 3 days.
Right. But now we're back to a situation that is like a normal situation. And that is when you're buying a home, it can be very stressful. There's a lot of back and forth, especially because we have to negotiate. Like, the budget is a flip-flop budget, right? Not just a shoestring budget, flip-flop budget.
And I have to take into account it's going to cost a lot of money to renovate this.
This is a miracle, us even getting into this. This is crazy. So we really have to tighten the belt, and we've got to be careful. But with that in mind, and not knowing to the extent of what renovations are going to cost, this isn't just the kitchen. This is every single
new sheetrock, new floors. I mean, it does have appliances which are supposed to stay, and so the plan is we will take those appliances, we will bring them to this house, and then we will bring these appliances to that house once everything is all set up.
Right.
Because these are all newer appliances. Now, that house does not have a microwave, so we'll have to buy a new microwave because this house is set up for it, and that will become an issue. But the rest of the stuff, we're just going to swap out appliances.
Right.
And sell this house as is with whatever's in it. Because this house does need a bunch of work, like a whole new kitchen.
But I do think it's a good idea for us, while we're kind of spiraling a little bit in that, like, oh my goodness, like, there's so much work to be done. I think it's good for us to go take a second and go look at what's possible. Like, what is going to be possibly on the other side of all of our hard work that we know we're about to enter into.
So we're back home.
I made dinner.
That was an experience.
It was. It is not as easy to purchase a manufactured home as I thought it would be.
So we just wanted to look to get ideas of what could we do once we got everything, and also how much is it if you had to get rid of the old one and pull in a new one.
And we live in Florida.
Because we can't afford to build a home.
You see them everywhere.
Yeah. So we contacted one of the biggest, best manufacturers, and one of the things is most of them, just like RVs, most of them are built in like Indiana and stuff. And when you build them, you have to pay the transportation costs, which could cost $5 to $7 per mile per piece going. So if you buy a 3-piece unit, that's $5 times 3 per mile. Well, there is a manufacturer which is very well known and is known to make a very good product.
Local.
That builds in Florida. I think it was like Texas and Florida where their 2 plants are. So we contacted them and they're like, if you want to go look at them, here's the list of all of the places that sell them. So we drove to one that's 45 minutes away from us, and they're like, yeah, we don't sell them. Like we don't even, we have one on property, but that it's literally, it was a mobile home park, and they're like, we only sell them to people who are going to live here. Like, if you want to buy one for your property, you have to go to the manufacturer, but then the manufacturer has on their website, we don't sell. You have to go to a dealer.
So I think we are back at, I think honestly the easiest thing is going to be to renovate.
I feel like it's God saying you're not going to have to work.
Right.
You're gonna be able to renovate, because even this guy was like, you don't understand the cost. I'm like, oh, I do. He was like, you have moving fee, assembly fee. He's like, so they'll tell you it's $120,000, but
he's talking us out of it.
You've got $50,000 on top of that they're not telling you about.
Okay.
Like, you know, a construction fee, because you have to hire a GC to come in and assemble everything and connect everything. And so we can't afford to build a home.
No.
We want the property.
Yes.
I'll live in my RV if I have to.
I guess we might, friends.
So, anyway, but we're excited. Contracts are signed. Everything goes as planned. The land will belong to us the middle of August. Then the work begins.
Then that's just the beginning.
That's just the beginning.
Death is only the beginning.
In the meantime, we're going to close this vlog out, but we are going to eat. We're going to actually eat in this full day of eating vlog.
Look at this.
So, hamburger and eggs.
And then I'm having hamburger and I'm having some keto brick. Bell's Brownie
Ooh.
Keto brick. Because
Maybe
why
I'll have
not?
keto bread.
Why not?
We did get in the mail a bunch of stuff that we purchased. These RX sugar bars, a few different flavors. Let us know in the comment section, should we do a video on these?
Yeah.
I'm excited about them because allulose and not lots of wonky ingredients. But also, we do want to ship more to allulose for our coffee because of the health benefits that you can possibly get from allulose, and it is a natural sweetener. Right now we carry sucralose with us, which in my opinion, there's nothing wrong with sucralose. Again,
Right.
something else that even Robert talks about in his course that, people say, well, it could affect your gut biome, but the studies are done on rats and they're feeding them ridiculous amounts. And I thought about this. Here's a great analogy. People who are concerned about studies of allulose on people. The amount of allulose that they're, sucralose that they're giving to these rats that's showing, affects their gut biome. I'd have to drink like 80 keto chows a day to get the amount they were giving. That's like saying a microwave is bad for you, which, probably is. But what kind of damage is the microwave doing? Like, if I just stand in a house that has a microwave, that's one thing. If I put my head in the microwave while it's cooking, going to be very different. So maybe some things like the environment are affecting you, but am I putting my head into it? Like, different things. So what we're going to do is, liquid sucralose is a pain to carry on the road. You always have to have it in a bag or anything like that. So RX Sugar has allulose sticks.
So let's try them.
And we're going to try these because it is just allulose.
And Lord knows we're going to be on the road a lot, going back and forth.
So let us know, should we do separate videos reviewing the bars and then also the sweetener? I think we're going to use this sweetener for a little while before we would even recommend it or anything.
Right. Now, before we close out completely, I just want to say that in preparation for what I know is going to be a stressful season, we're moving. We have a child that's getting married. We have a child that's graduating from college and going to be moving into like a new job.
And we have the finale rally for RV Unplugged.
There's a lot going on.
And the 2KK cruise.
How do you respond to that? Everybody's going to be different. When Joe is stressed out, he stops eating. When I am stressed out, I overeat. So for this season going in, I know that for me, I'm going to stick to as whole ingredient as possible for the most part. And I am probably going to just track my intake. Not that I'm eating like to track, but I just want to be conscious of eating and not just being like, gosh, I'm really stressed. I don't have an answer to this conundrum. Like when you get to a moment in an intersection in a day, what do? Eat or go meditate, right? Like you can have different things that you do. So I just want to have eyes on it in this season because I know we're about to head out into a stressful time.
I feel like I should consume this for you.
Oh, that'd be such a blessing.
Because you're deep into Robert's program. I'm just beginning. And my question is Keto Brick an approved food on the Keto Savage program?
I would hope so.
I guess I can't have this. Okay. Well, that's going to be the end of this vlog. If you like seeing videos like this, take a look at some of the videos we have linked right over here. Also, make sure you take the most recent videos I'm going to put right over there.
But whether you have this way or you have this way, don't forget to have this way. Subscribe to our channel and click the little bell icon in that way. Wherever we're living, you'll know about it.
Until next time.
Bye.